right, team, what is going on? Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. It is August 3rd, 2025. Glad to be with you today. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of GAR Capital. Welcome to GAR Capital, the place to be if you're a day trader and want to talk markets, crypto, stocks, bonds, the fun stuff. The fun stuff where we can make some money trading. That's the deal here. So glad to be with you. We do this every week on Sunday where we talk about the market, we recap the day, kind of position ourselves for the upcoming week, strategize together. This is what it's all about. It's free for everybody here on YouTube. All we ask in return is a subscription. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Let's put the chart here. Just want to give a big shout out to all of the masterclass students that signed up. I am excited to be working with you. Yes, I will be teaching you personally. It is on Discord. Discord has everything. We share screens. We can share data, details, all the charts that I talk about, all the articles we write. It's easier to reference instead of doing it on a Zoom or GoToMeeting or Skype or anything like that. Discord is actually a really, really great software now. They actually, we're talking about an IPO. I don't know when that's happening. So again, if you are a masterclass student, we will talk on direct message throughout the day. If you have any questions, we'll be setting up your classes through Discord. I have it all on my calendar. So again, I look forward to working with you. If you signed up and haven't got with me yet, make sure to DM me at CEO GAR Capital, at CEO GAR Capital. See it? There's a lot of fake ones out there, but CEO GAR Capital is only one. That's me. So make sure to DM me first so we can set you up, because I don't DM people unsolicited. There's a lot of bots out there. So be very careful. If you're not sure, you can always email our back office, garcapital@gmail.com, or you can open a trouble ticket, or you can DM me directly. Rock and roll. Glad to be with you. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the markets and macro, right? Finally got a pullback. Rest assured, understand that now we're in August. August is seasonally weaker on the S&P. So all of this that's happening now, we're going to go over that here in a second in terms of the macro, jobs, the Fed, and all that. All of this was expected. None of this should be a surprise to anyone here. July was an exceptional month for trading. I told everyone, all our students, all our members, that July we need to be hitting it. August, take a step back. If you guys are interested, we went ahead and typed up a 60-day playbook. Again, this was written before July even started. So let me go ahead and get you that so you guys can take a look at how we are going to set ourselves up moving forward. If I can just find this article. We got tons of articles here, guys. Here we go. 60-day playbook, how to trade Q3 like a pro. And we talked about July, the first phase, risk on. All of this happened. Long call options, you could sell puts, long index futures. We hit all-time highs pretty much daily at that point. We're like 60 days above the 20-day. Tech, consumer discretionary, banks did well. Gold actually bounced later towards the tail end of the month because we had the Fed. But defensive sectors are finally catching bids now. Watch healthcare, watch these staples like a Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Costco, those names. They should be bidding in August as the risk on stocks. Think of semiconductors. Those might take a step back. And again, they are expensive. All of this was expected. I thought we would get a 25 basis point cut in July. Obviously, it didn't happen due to the previous non-farm payroll report. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But look at August. Rotate into gold and defensives. Maintain neutral to bearish bias on S&P and NASDAQ. Again, guys, this was written back on June 30th. All of this was expected. So we know what we're looking for. We know what we want. So let's talk first about the jobs number that just came out, the non-farm payroll report, and the revisions down. None of this is new. Even Biden's administration had revisions down. Is the world on fire? No. This is what we wanted since we're traders. We want a weaker labor market so we can get rates cut, unfortunately. Instead of the societal approach where we want everyone to work, obviously, but as traders, this should be welcome. We want a weaker job market so we can get that rate cut. So let's take a look at the S&P. None of this should be new. Again, 6175 on ES. That is the retest of the breakout. That is what I'm looking for this week. and possibly in the month of August. And once we get there, we will see where we go from there. That is the 50-day MA. The 50-day moving average has not been breached since May 7th. I think we retest it. I think we get there. If we break below the lows of 62.34 this upcoming week, maybe in Asia on Sunday, I want a piece of it. I want a short S&P. Definitely. If you're someone that's looking at NASDAQ, here is your 50-day, 22,460. That's the target. And if we're targeting lower, which is the actual retest of the breakout, it's 22,100. Now, you might be able to do 22.3, but 22.1 would be a really great place, at least I think so, to buy the dip here. And again, stocks got really expensive. That's all that happened. We had a major short squeeze higher. A lot of people who were bearish because of the tariffs, they got hit. The Nvidias of the world, all of them got short squeezed out. And we traded Nvidia many times these past couple of weeks. One of them didn't work out with Masterclass, but the rest did well. And Nvidia, if we look at it here in a second, if we break the 20-day moving average, 170, that should be definitely welcomed because we're going to go ahead and short down to 165. So think of Nvidia as in $5 increments. Nvidia will be part of the watch list this week. We will talk about certain names that are coming up, and we should be very excited that we're going to get a nice discount. Think about this for a second. A name like Palantir that's been trading at high multiples, like we've been talking about, 700 times, 600 times multiples. Let's make the analogy here. Let's say if anyone here is a watch person, someone who likes watches. Okay. A stainless steel Submariner. It's still a nice watch, obviously an everyday used watch. Stainless steel, you can wear it to dive the whole nine. I think the MSRP for that watch is like right around 9K, 10K. You're basically telling me if you want to buy Palantir here, that you're willing to buy a stainless steel Submariner that's $10,000, let's say, for example, for $355,000 because you need it today. That doesn't make sense. Palantir reports this week. Let's see what their guidance is. Let's see what their earnings are before we start jumping and buying the dip. So far, so good in terms of corporate earnings across the board, kind of steady. We've had some great profitability that we've been seeing, but the market is just getting priced too ahead, too expensive for rates where they are currently. Right now, we're pricing stocks like rates are half where they are now. We need rates to go down so we can make money more accessible. It is at this moment with money supply. But we need rates to come down in order to justify these multiples, meaning price multiples, price to earnings multiples, PE multiples. Right now, we are too expensive. There's only a couple of names that may have some value in the tech world. For example, Google, in my opinion, is still on the cheaper side. That might retest 186.78. I'm looking to buy the dip there. Apple just reported earnings. I want to short Apple this week. So take a look at that. I'm looking for 200. That's the target. And if I'm looking to buy shares in Apple, rebuy here, 185. I'm just want another 20 bucks, $17 worth of a discount. Could that happen this week? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hell, we even shorted, what did we do this past week? Let me make sure. I don't know if did we short Tesla is the question. Yeah, we did the 295 puts on Tesla. That was right. That was a signal. If that breaks down on Monday, we're going to catch profit on that because look at the lows here, 297.70. That would be only $2 away from in the money. Now, some of the members did catch it on Friday. Good for them. They took some profit, but we are holding these Tesla calls. If you are interested in seeing some of our trades this week, it is on our Discord server. Go to option signals. This past week was 5 for 5. We even wrote an article on it. And Tesla 295 puts, they're 5% currently. If you were in those, they are 20%. Or if you're still in them, I'm riding with you. But it did hit as high as 20%. Speaking of the articles, check this out. Here is the articles regarding July. Hopefully you take a read at that and take a look and see what you think. All right, back to the market. Okay, so we talked about the jobs report in terms of the revisions. This is nothing new. This happened during the Biden administration, happened during the Clinton administration, Obama administration, all of them. It's not a political statement. It's just reality. Remember, these are numbers that are just estimates in the beginning. It's really the revisions that matter. But again, we still want low rates, right? In order to get low rates, we need job cuts. I know it sounds terrible, but that's just the reality. So if these revisions are still down and we're getting weaker and weaker data, It's going to push the Fed to actually get that cut in September. We do not have a meeting in August. It is a Jackson Hole meeting in Wyoming for all the central bankers meeting up there. So no Fed action in terms of August. But we do have some buybacks happening in terms of the big names, the Googles, the Metas, the Amazons of the world. If they have buybacks, Apple, for example, that'll begin, I believe, in the second week of August. So you might get a little bit of a bounce here and there, but I am expecting some retesting on S&P, retesting on NASDAQ this week or the next coming days or weeks, excuse me, but in August. Taking a look at Russell, the Russell is already at the 50-day. And we're retesting that breakout. That was an inverse head and shoulders, and we played long there. Let's see if we pull back a little more. If it does, I have no problem shorting IWM. I have no problem doing puts whatsoever. We just did puts on Apple recently. So it's not fun, obviously, and puts are difficult in a bull market. It is still a bull market, but prepare yourself for any kind of correction. A 5% haircut from where we are at the peak is not a bad thing. Again, let the deck reshuffle, let pricing come down, and then we can take advantage on the way down and then the bounce all the way back up. Okay, so let's take a look now at what we have in terms of earnings and the week. Let's see. This past week, let's see if I can bring up Forex Factory. All right, Forex Factory, this is where you go. We're going to go to tomorrow. We're going to go to filter. I always filter out the yellow ones. And of course, we're just going to focus on the American market and American economic data for now. If you're someone that's trading Forex, then yeah, you obviously care about everyone else. Look at this week, pretty quiet. ISM manufacturing PMI, that's on Tuesday, and unemployment claims on Wednesday. That's basically it. And if we go ahead and make this yellow, I think you'll have crude oil inventory. So you could see a couple speakers here and there, but anything that stands out, it's really just the unemployment claims that might be higher. Consumer credit is on Friday, 30-year bond auction on Friday, 10-year bond auction on Wednesday. But again, we are expecting rate cuts in September if this labor market holds down as it is now or with revisions. Let's take a look at earnings this week. Here we go. Palantir, the major one that's going to report. HIMSS reports on Monday. Berkshire just reported this weekend. AMD Supermicro Computer reports. Snap reports. Open Door, that was a meme name. Uber, Shopify reports. Novo. You have Disney. What else we got? Celsius, Eli Lilly, ConocoPhillips. So we're starting to get into the meat of it. Again, the majors are already reported. DraftKings, McDonald's. Let's take a look at a couple and see if there's anything to trade here. Go ahead and get your pen and pad ready and set your alerts so we can get set up. Palantir, like I said, expensive. So what are we doing with this name? What can we do in terms of earnings? Well, that's really going to depend on Monday because we just bounced off the 20-day. So if we break below the 20-day, I'd hate to say it, I would be short Palantir. You could see this upward trend line that is broken. Again, that 20-day being the last part, I would try to short to 145. 145 puts, they are going to be expensive. Like Apple, like Tesla, post earnings, we took care of business. We can wait for the report and then we could trade it. But I'm looking for Palantir to go down. It's just expensive. Love the company since it was $9, but it's just too damn expensive. HIMSS broke out on the 31st and then finally pulled back. $59.77 is what I'm looking at. $60 if that pulls back. And if it breaks above 67, it is a complete breakout on HIMSS. This stock might go to $80. So be very careful here on this one. I would wait on earnings again on HIMSS if you're planning to trade it. $60 is support. 67.42 would be the breakout. My call is I'm going to say higher. I'm going to say that we break above 70. I talked about Reddit this past week, and they reported earnings this past week. Nice push. I talked about that cup and handle, looking great. Problem is that now you have a gap to fill. So maybe if you want that to pull back and you can go long again on that cup and handle, and you also have another gap below. 200 was my target. Got close, but we're not there yet. If we get above 196.91, those 200 calls will definitely be more valuable. And then you can target all-time highs at 230. But they already reported. Let's keep it moving. Hims and Palantir are done. Let's take a look at Pfizer. Pfizer's been absolutely brutalized. All of healthcare has been taking a hit. Yeah, I would stay away from this one. The trend is still down. It's still a company that has somewhat of value, makes a lot of money, but it's just not in demand. Just not in demand. So you see that upward trend line broken down. Looks like we might be hitting right around 23. So I would stay away from Pfizer. Let's take a look at Caterpillar. Yep. Caterpillar needs to tag the 20-day at 416.96. Let's call it 417. And then if it bounces there, we can just go and trade the highs to 450. I like Caterpillar here if it does retest the 20 for a continuation higher. So I would say bullish on Caterpillar. AMD. Now, this one has been a name that's been absolutely nuclear, has been on absolute fire. I remember in February, this was a $90 stock and everyone hated it. Now everyone loves it again. Fair enough. Love Lisa Su, great CEO. 185 is your resistance. We filled this gap here. We only have one more gap to fill below that's near it, around 147. So the concern is what now? They report on Tuesday. If you break above 185, it's a long. I think it rejects it. I think we just kind of chop here. I think we're just going to be neutral on AMD. It's gone so much of a run up. A lot of good news has been priced in. A lot of shorts have been destroyed. I would say stay neutral on AMD here. The move's already been made. Uber, I have some September calls, and boy, do I need a good number. We did fill this gap, at least, thankfully. So now we just have to see if we get continuation. Doesn't look great. I'm not going to sit here and say it looks good here. Kind of a possible head and shoulders, and it pulled back. It's got to hold 85. The only concern I have is that it retests here, right around 82, and then my premiums are kind of smoked. So I need to get above 90 as soon as possible in Uber. If it gets above 90, I would target 95 if you're trying to get in. But for now, I'm going to have to wait on that earnings report. Let's take a look at Shopify. Shopify was a name I wanted to trade, but got to 130 and then it rejected. So what do we got here? A little bit of a trend line. Yeah, breakdown. Maybe 110 would be a target if you break the lows of 115. I would actually be short Shopify down to 110. Already getting a little bit. Possible double top on Shopify too. Just some short-term weakness. I'm sure it'll be bought up in November later this year. Disney. All right. And not really head and shoulders. Head and shoulders here. Finally pulled back. Last call for Disney is around 113, 112.84. If that breaks, we're looking to short down to like 110, 108. That's the 4 hour. Let's look at the daily. Yep. Possible double top here at 125. 112 is next. I'd actually be short Disney. I think Disney pulls back more. Let's see McDonald's. That's a name I haven't seen in a while. Kind of choppy action on the daily. Nothing really sexy about it. The only concern here is death cross, where the 50 is below the 20. The 50 is below the 200. So we may have a little bit of weakness here. See the upward trend. Let's break 300. If that breaks below, we can short down to around 285 to 290. More likely 285 on McDonald's. There's a slight gap to fill at 306. That may tag. And then, but with that death cross on the daily, I expect down for McDonald's. All right, DraftKings. Let's break this recent high of around 46.63. Then we can go long to 50. It's holding the 20-day right at resistance. It broke above it before. Might get some weakness here. So I wouldn't do anything on DraftKings unless 46.63 breaks. Other than that, there's nothing to do there. CLH, that's Celsius. What else we got? Okay, a little bit of a cup. No handle yet. Gonna have to get above 50. That seems to be that resistance there. 50 double top. Gotta get above 50. That's kind of it. I'm sure the 50 calls would probably have the most volume on the board in terms of that. But it actually is setting up for a reversal. Yeah, downward, upward channel. So if it's below 50, Celsius is a short. If it breaks 50, it's a long. Probably to 70 at that point. Maybe 60 in the short term. But That seems like a coin flip. I would stay away from this name for now. Snapchat. We'll fix up. We'll do this as the last one. Yeah. Wow. I would say so, Snap gets it around $8.28, possibly, but this doesn't look like there's anything to trade here, unfortunately. Let me see if I can get something here. Something that's tradable. XYZ. We'll try block. Cup possible handle. You just filled the gap. I'm gonna have to skip that one too. Come on, give me something. Let's try pins. Pinterest, yeah. Double top. Oh man. Double top on the daily. You're above the 20. Tough one too. Man. All right. Come on. Give me something that's worth a trade. It's the IONQ. I never traded this one, but yeah, this looks like it might get to 35. IONQ. So keep an eye on this one. Yeah. If this gets below 35.26, I think this is a short. Yeah, a lot of pullbacks here in these in these small caps. So might do some retesting here, if anything. Oh, let's take a look at Upstart. There you go. I missed that one. Upstart. All right. I'm pretty sure everyone that saw SoFi last week, what happened? Let's look at it. SoFi had a nice pop post earnings, and then they had a share offering, diluting their current stock shares, and then pulled back. So this might be the same situation. I may just want to wait for 87.45 to break before you do anything. More than likely, the 90s to 100s will probably get the most vol, but I think this looks like it's going to break out to above 88. I would say bullish on Upstart unless there's some crazy, well, news. I can't say crazy news, but a share offering or bond offering would not be helpful. But if that's aside, I would say Upstart is your best bet in terms of going upside on that one. That's what I think looks like it's set up to do. So we got a couple of names that have some action. I'll throw some more on the watch list, but we went over a couple here. For the most part, the two names I'm watching to short this week are Apple and Tesla. Those are the two I want to short. Tesla I already have puts, and Apple I would like to get in again. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go for the week. Again, kind of a quiet week in terms of economic data, but we got tons of earnings. Looks like we're getting some selling pressure out there. So futures traders, I know it's been rather quiet lately. Get ready to short. We're going to have some fun this week and see if we can catch some bags or TP4s or what have you. Should be a fun one. Again, none of this was unexpected. All of this is what we wanted. We wanted a great July in terms of a run up and then take profits into August. Kind of look for some weakness, maybe buy the dip if you miss some, but we'll see if we get some prices that are actually what we want before we do anything. All right, team, we'll leave it there. Oof, it's a lot. Glad to be with you this Sunday, and every Sunday, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that like button. Comment any of your questions. Would love to have you on the server. Scrolling on the bottom, www.gar.capital. We got some great articles out for you. Should be a fun week this week. Let's not force anything. Make sure the price comes to us. Keep it locked on GAR Capital for all your day trading needs. Have a great rest of your week. Let's crush it. Cheers all.